welcome everybody to IS50B. We didn't record this on Thursday. Kind of wish I did because we were kind of brainstorming a new project using Raylib. And the brainstorming actually went really well. And unfortunately, I didn't record it. So I could just kind of report on how we did here. So we basically started by talking about the genre that we want to make a game cooperatively for, because this is 50B. And I feel like working together on a project is a great way of learning. In real life, you collaborate a lot. And so we're going to be coordinating this on GitHub. So I was doing things like setting up people on a GitHub project, which wasn't very interesting for YouTube streaming. So I didn't record it, but then we got to the brainstorming part. And it was actually kind of interesting. So basically people tossed out different ideas for a genre, and then we voted on it. And puzzle won. We voted on different themes. We had Viking and fantasy and some other stuff, and sci-fi won. And then we voted on what kind of graphics we want. Do we want, cell shaded, low poly, high poly, photorealistic, whatever. And they want some low poly models, which is good because they're easier to come by, and they render faster too and stuff like that. So it's gonna have a low poly art scheme. Boxes were another option because the starting Raylib project we're using is just rectangular prisms. And then we came up with a name. And the name was the interesting part. And so basically people started tossing out different names and things like that. And we had 8 shots of, let me see if I can find that poll. 8 shots of coffee or something like that. And basically then I had people toss out adjectives and things like that. And then I just sort of randomly started adding adjectives to the different titles they came up with to make it a little bit more interesting. So we had Wolfpack Aeon, and then somebody said green as an adjective, so we have Green Aeon, which nobody knows what that means, but it's provocative, right? And we have elongated big data energy, and lovely clock watchers, and 8 wacky espresso shots, and fun bureaucratic blockchain cracker, and eternal starship pieces. And that one won, right, as you can see. So the process to go through with that is you just start off with some basic kind of titles, and then it's like almost playing Mad Libs or something like that. So it's like, all right, people toss out adjectives at me, and then I just took the adjectives. I'm like, oh, Green Aeon, that sounds kind of provocative, and I'll put that in. And pieces of the Eternal Starship, like, what does that mean? I don't know. It's interesting though, right? And so that was how we eventually settled on that as the title for our cooperative project that we're going to work on together. And over the weekend, I had students answer these 3 questions. What emotions you want students to experience when playing your game? A lot of, I think, wannabe game developers kind of sort of arbitrarily just they just kind of make a game, something that's fun. But if you really want your game to connect with people, to really click with people, you want them to experience emotions. And because emotion is tied in with memory in the way the human brain works. And some of the best games that I've played have had very sad, moments in them. I don't want to say Final Fantasy VII when Eris died, because I didn't feel very much of a connection to Eris in the game. I was just annoyed that I lost my primary healer more than anything, which I guess is a connection. But if you think of a lot of the best games you've played, games like Mass Effect or Celeste, or was it the Brothers, the game Brothers or something like that? There's these really touching moments in them. Now, if we're doing a puzzle game, you might be like, oh, what kind of emotion can you have in a puzzle game? And think about a game like Portal, which is one of the best puzzle games of all time. You're like, oh, are there emotions in Portal? And the answer is yeah. There's actually a lot of humor in it. It's actually quite a funny game. Gladys as a villain, is this sort of horrible person, and she just spites you constantly. You're walking up and she'll just drop a bridge, you're just I just really want to defeat this, frustrating robot AI person, And at the end of it, you like kind of rip her apart and toss pieces of her into space, and uh, she sings a song at the end, and there's an emotional connection. In fact, one of the most emotional things, which was really quite funny, was the this. If you've played Portal, you know what I'm talking about. It's the companion cube, and you carry this cube with you through a series of puzzles. And what the developers discovered was that people were forming like this emotional connection to it. And so at the end of the time with the companion cube, you have to like toss it into an inferno. And people are no, when I play this with my daughter, she's like, no, it's so sad. Oh my gosh. And solely to torment Shell. Yeah. After carrying it through the entire level and after processing and bonding with the cube, you have to toss it in an incinerator. So like that's emotion, right? And even though like the emotions you're feeling are in this case like bonding with the companion cube, and then anger at having to kill it and stuff like that, and there's a lot of humor in the game, that's still emotion. Good games are fun. Great games provoke emotion from people, like genuine emotion. And this is one of the areas where I think Starfield fails. So I like Starfield. I'm probably not going to 100% it like I did with Cyberpunk 2077 because it took forever. Starfield has a achievement for hitting level 100, and I don't think I have the patience to play through level 100 of Starfield and to visit every star system. I don't. I really don't. But I will have basically completed all of the storyline quests probably in a couple days. And I like Starfield. I think it's a solid B+ kind of game. But one of the areas where it fell down, and Sean, chime in here if you want to unmute yourself, is you just really feel no emotional connection to any of the NPCs, like at all. Like Sarah Morgan, you go through this whole romance quest with her, and her whole romance quest is her just like questioning herself, and then at the end she's like, "Oh, let's get married," and you're like, "Okay," like, there's just no like. I don't know what part of magic is missing from it, but like games like Mass Effect did a much better job having you emotionally bond with, the Krogan, Shepard, or the Turian, hanging out in the reactor core or wherever it was. Like, however they did it, Mass Effect was able to create very memorable companions. Dr. Morgan, I think his name was. What was his name? Morden. Sorry, Dr. Morden. And he dies. No, In this game, one of my companions dies, and I'm like, oh. So whatever it is, and I'm not too sure why.
I think it's just because they're like too surface level.
Yeah.
You don't really get to know the character. It's just, here's trauma dump. Hey, let's get married.
Right.
There's no...
I feel,
and it's like 30 minutes of story and then marriage.
Yeah, like it's just like, oh, I feel very self-conscious. Like, great.
Yeah. And they're all... When you replay and you go through the other characters, you realize they're all the same person. They're all goody two-shoes. They don't like when you shoot random people. But then they do it. So...
You're right. Who knows? I somehow aggroed civilians somehow. I was attacked by security guards in some Starship company. Like the boss shows up, it's like, kill him, and the guards start shooting at me, so I start shooting back, and then the civilians all go hostile, and then they start shooting me, and so like the head of the Freestar Rangers was with me, and she's just walking around with a shotgun shooting civilians in the back of the head with a shotgun, and I'm like, it's Sarah Morgan's like gunning down civilians left and right. I'm like,
yep. And going through one of the storylines that I went through, Sarah Morgan just randomly started aggroing on civilians that weren't even aggressive towards me. They weren't enemies or anything. And she just started killing them all. And I'm like, all right, well, that sucks, because now all the guards started shooting at me in an otherwise peaceful area. So I start killing the guards, and then Sarah Morgan, in the middle of me shooting at enemies, talks to me and is like, why are you killing these people? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, bruh, what do you mean? You started this. This is your fault.
Yeah,
While she has a shotgun pointed at the back of a civilian's head. Jesus.
Didn't you say like it triggered like a romance scene like while you're on top of a pile of like?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she just like
something?
randomly pulled me into a conversation while standing over corpses. Twice.
I just want to
Both
say
of
how much
her two main ones happened after I just killed a bunch of people. Literally seconds after.
Yeah, it just feels like their personalities are all cardboard.
Yeah, they're the same person.
And they
they're
just
all
talk about the same thing over and over again. Like Samco just talks
Yeah.
about his legacy as a member of the Ko family. And
Dude, I can't stand Ko. He is the worst of the four.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, he's not himself. He is his legacy, and that is it.
I just want to get out among the stars, you know.
Yeah.
Andreja, like she just, I don't feel like I belong. Okay. And that's all she ever says, like, you know.
Yeah.
And Barrett, like, at least Barrett's funny. So
yeah.
Kind of.
He's like, hey, I have a gift for you. Here's a sandwich that I found.
He makes me eat chicken marsala. He must like me a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't use him as a follower, so I just get like sandwiches that he found on his previous expedition or whatever. He's like, here's something I found a couple weeks ago. It's a fucking ham and egg sandwich. I'm like, bro, what do you mean?
Yeah, I found this when we were discovering these 100-year-old ruins. Here, eat it. Let's see what happens. Yeah,
I think he's trying to kill me.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's actually an area where Starfield really just failed. You know,
yeah,
was on the emotion. Like I just don't care about any of the companions. I don't care about Constellation. The antagonist NPCs, I don't care about them either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one character with a bomb in his chest, and he's like,
Boss. That's Boss.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Boss?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm gonna put a bomb in your chest for what you did to me. But yeah, no, like that's the only character that like even remotely like did anything, because it's like he got dragged into this and now he's stuck here, and it's like you can choose to save him or you can choose to leave him, but it's not like he did what he did by choice.
Yeah, but if he
that's like the only moral thing that I've had happen yet.
Yeah, with
the rest of the game is just there's no emotion to it. It's just a fun shipbuilder game. That's it.
The shipbuilding's neat. A lot of the storyline quest missions I actually think are really well designed. Like the one where a terramorph is like patrolling around and it's telling you the thing's 50 yards away, it's 40 yards away, it's 30 yards away.
That mission was fun.
That was like the second time I played it, I just killed it. But like the first time you played it, it's supposed to be this horrible killing machine that's unkillable. You have to activate all these turrets to kill it. And so like I'm sneaking around and you can see on the radar like it's getting closer to you like an alien's like stealthing around boxes and stuff. Like that was a high tension. Like I really liked that mission.
Yeah, it felt like one of the Alien games, Alien Isolation.
Yeah, that was really solid.
That was cool.
There were a couple good reveals in that whole storyline that I thought were really well done.
You spoiled the end of one of them for Mencarelli.
Oh, yeah.
He hadn't even started the quest line and he was about to, and you're like, oh yeah, this happens. And he's just like, huh?
Yeah, my bad. The Crimson Brotherhood quest. Like, I think they were supposed to make you want to bond with Delgado and something, but he's just a jerk to you the entire time.
Yeah, they're all assholes to you.
They are. Yeah, and at the end of it, it must have been really hard to betray Delgado. I'm like, no.
I got money. He died. Universe saved.
I think they're trying to go for like a Donnie Brasco kind of thing. Like, you got in too deep as an undercover informant, you know? And I was just like, these guys are all terrible. Like, they're just all horrible people. And I hate them all. And yeah, so our goal here is to be better than Starfield. All right, which is a fairly low bar. I think we should be able to.
I have actually a question about the companions.
What was that? About the companions?
The question about the Starfield companions. How will you compare like the Starfield companions to like Bethesda's like previous companions, like from Fallout or Skyrim?
So Skyrim, the companions were almost empty because there was like 200 people or something that could follow you in Skyrim. And so you almost like just sort of invented your own story for them because they didn't have any backstory. Like Lydia would follow you around and she just had this kind of snarky, like, I'm sworn to carry your burdens. And so like that one line, you know, just conveys so much more about her personality than all of this like I feel like I don't belong here times 100 that you get from Andresia.
Yeah,
So
they just accepted that the companions were bad and played into it instead of trying to make something that was good and then it's being bad.
Yeah, and like some of them did, like Majol the lioness, like she's missing a sword or something. You see, there's like a little side quest you do for her, but yeah, mostly it's just like you invent the own story. Like, oh, she got burnt to death by a Dwemer artifact or something, and like you just sort of invent your own story almost. They were really minimal in Skyrim.
Yeah,
but you can
and they don't
marry
make you say
almost
scum
anybody.
conversations.
Yeah, you don't have to work through their decades of accumulated trauma, which is not romantic. Like it's not.
No.
I saw what you deleted. You posting a
think
meme
in
about Heavy.
Skyrim, probably the most in-depth companion was from the Dawnguard DLC, the vampire girl companion. I
Yeah.
forgot her name. She's probably the most in-depth companion you probably will ever get.
I don't think I ever read her.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Something to do on my next Skyrim playthrough.
Yeah, there's like a whole storyline assigned to her.
Mm-mm.
You like turn into a vampire for a bit and stuff. It's cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my current playthrough I'm actually playing as a vampire because I never played vampire before in Skyrim.
It's weird.
I'm playing with all the modded vampire stuff, which is pretty different.
Oh, okay, yeah, that probably fixes it.
Yeah, Starfield, I guess, has procedurally generated planets and stuff like that, but like, I don't go to any of them because there's no point.
Yeah, they're all empty.
They're all empty. So
they're procedurally generated, but from what I know, you can't just like traverse the planet. You can go to points of interest, and that's it. So there's almost no point.
You can land in like empty space and like set up an
outpost. But you're like confined to like a bubble area. You can't just like walk infinitely around the planet. Yeah. There is an end that you can go to.
You can't fly around the planet, which would have been pretty cool too.
Yeah, no Elite Dangerous, unfortunately, or No Man's Sky.
Yeah. You build outposts, but I don't see any point for it.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the person that flew through one of the planet PNGs?
Mm-mm.
There's somebody that got there was a journalist that flew towards a planet for like days straight, and then they found out that the planet's not actually a 3D model. Shocker. And then they got fired from their job because of it.
Maybe it's because they were just doing nothing but playing Starfield for 2 days straight. Yeah. So
let me see if I can find the clip.
So yeah, in short, like, you need to like hook your players like emotionally somehow, one way or the other. And sometimes maybe it's just the writing of Starfield. Maybe they should have hired Drew Carpathian, the guy who did the Mass Effect writing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think more about why Starfield just doesn't work emotionally for me. As a game, I kind of enjoy the space combat. I like the starship building. All of the hand-ridden quests, I think, are actually like pretty solid. Like there's some pretty epic scenes, in different parts of the game. So overall, I'm giving it like a B+, I would say. Spent 7 hours flying to a planet in Starfield. That's funny. Anyway, so let's look at the emotions that students have brainstormed for this. So, and we're also talking about a color palette too, right? So, games typically have color palettes that when you're looking at a game, like you can almost, if you like defocus your eyes and like look at one game versus another, you can almost tell what game you're playing. So, like the color palette, like the Starfield palette, is right? Like these are the colors they used, and you see this everywhere in like their demo art. If you buy a Rockstar right now that's Starfield themed, it has these colors on it. This is the palette they have picked to represent Starfield, and it's on the logo and all that kind of stuff. And so, whereas if you're talking about like Call of Duty or something like that, it's got more yellows and browns in it. Overwatch has a very distinctive color palette, which these like vibrant, bright colors like this. It's part of the look, right? Like this is like when you see Overwatch, you're looking at Overwatch, and it's not an accident. Like these color decisions are made, and that sets the tone, that sets the mood for the game. A lot of like Middle East, games have those yellows and oranges and browns because apparently the Middle East is just completely monochrome brown. Apparently, according to Hollywood, that would be another good game that has a distinctive color palette. Let me think. Hollywood sucks. Yeah, it's just their Mexico filter. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's terrible. So okay, so the color palettes. Let's look at the votes we got here. So we have a almost an Overwatch color scheme from Bruce here. The emotions, fun, and creativity. Okay, so be better than Starfield. Okay, so fun. Fun goes without saying. I think every game's supposed to be fun, unless it's just a complete emotional like meat grinder or something like that. And creativity is not exactly an emotion. And then design a puzzle that could be incorporated in the game. A thruster for the ship. I'm not sure how that's a puzzle. Bruce, you want to explain that? I mean, I don't know what that is. And then what sort of enemy can be found? 40k orcs trying to steal pieces of the starship. All right, so puzzles and enemies. Okay. So we're continuing our brainstorming process here. So Bruce is voting for America, puzzles a thruster of some sort, and enemies space orcs. Generic. Non-branded. Don't sue me. Games Workshop. Okay. You assume the game was putting... Okay. Puzzles put the spaceship together. Okay. But that's... I mean... What's the actual puzzle? Like, you just pick up a piece and deliver it. I mean... That doesn't involve a lot of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, just fetch quest, get 5 pieces, you win. Right? Megan, a second before I said that, said fetch quests. Yeah. Okay. So we will keep the America palette as a vote and 40k orcs. Generic, non-branded, don't sue me, Warhammer. Okay. So Megan has this color palette, which is interesting. I can see this working for like an outer space game, right? Like especially the purples and almost blacks, things like that. Yeah, it's cool. Anxiety, satisfaction. Yeah, again, like with fun, like satisfaction is kind of goes without saying. But anxiety, it's like pressure to operate under a time limit. Okay. And so we have like Megan Space palette. Okay. Cubes have alien characters in one face and various other character types on the remaining 5. You have to rotate them. View from a certain location will give you a word code. Okay. All right. So oh no, that's an emotion. Sorry. Cubes that have to be lined upright. So word, what is it? Boggle, maybe. Boggle's a puzzle game where you have cubes with letters on them and stuff like that. Bleak Falls Barrow statues. You think of the lighter colors being accent and glow. Yeah, that works. Yeah, like that could be on like the trim of the space, consoles and things like that. Yeah, for sure. An alien enemy that is not physically intimidating, even somewhat cute, but is deceiving and manipulative. Maybe something like the attached image. Attached image is an example. So Alien 2 enemy sprite set. Is this a sprite set that you've bought? I mean, we can actually just use these if you want. So that guy looks deceptive and manipulative. This guy looks like a berserker kind of over here. He's got spikes on his spacesuit. This guy looks like he's just had enough. He's just like he's done. This guy, of course, has this rocket punch going on. All right. So cute but deadly aliens. Okay. Cute alien enemy, got it. So I can go through my asset packs that I have on here and see if we can find some that will work. Wrote a novel for your answer. All right, that's fine. Okay, so for this one, this is Sean's. Okay, so we've got blacks and blues for space and like is that seal brown that it says there? Okay, I like that. It's a pretty palette. Sean's, Raymond's, seal brown. Color palette, major accent, a large ship, tore to pieces, dark and mute colors. Yeah, contrast options, good. Yeah, I like that palette a lot. Want the player to feel alone. Want the player to feel a little bit of hope. So a little bit of color. Yeah, okay. Dying Light 1's electrical stations where you have to connect cables together. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So, yeah. So like maybe some of the cables are wrapped around pillars. You have to like unwrap them and connect them together and light up, a different area. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Especially because we're going to have 4 different areas, right? Because Caesar's not showing up anymore. So we could have a center hub, and then Bruce, Voss, Megan, and Sean each take a cardinal direction. And maybe you have to pull the wires. Maybe each of the cardinal directions will have a plug. And when you connect to it, the wall vanishes, and then it unlocks that branch, of the game. I like that. Puzzles, power cable puzzle to unlock the different levels of the map. I dig it. I like it. Enemies, robotic enemies, used to be attendants that have gone crazy. They power down. There's no power. Once you reattach power, they reawaken. All right, I like that too. Yeah, so robots that turn on when you power their sector. So you not only unlock the level, but the robots come alive as well. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, so you can work on each section of the map one at a time. Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that. So good brainstorming there. I think there's a lot of stuff we can do here. Disgusted space trash. This is Voss. It's Voss, yeah. Okay, so we got blues and purples again. So I'm seeing kind of a Cenarius. That's a cool color name, Cenarius. So again, we have like the blacks, the purples, the blues for space. Cenarius. Did I spell that right? I did. Wow, weird. Okay. Voss's Cenarius colors, yeah. So we'll need to vote on the palettes then, and so because if we go with Bruce's Bright America colors, it's going to have like an Overwatch kind of theme to it. Like the emotion that we're going to have is much more positive when you have bright whites and bright blues and bright reds. Megan's has the space colors, but also some glowing reds and greens and things like that. You have accent highlights. And then Sean and Robert have combinations of dark blues, purples, blacks, with just a small difference in the last color. Got a gray kind of thing here. And Megan also has the orange here. Where's the other one? And then this one has like Space Cadet. That's a cool name too. It's slate gray and it's got that brown on it. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, you don't go by Robert, do you? So, just call you boss. I know. Boss it is. Ibereg if. All right, so let me pause the recording now. We'll take a vote on which palette we want. All right, so it looks like Megan's has won the vote. So let me paste the over here. I'll just use this as inspiration. So when you're, let me crop that a little bit because it looks like there's white in it. A little easier here. So when you're thinking of the game and the game design, use these colors as kind of like inspiration, right? And I'll just stick them over here. Okay. So color palette is going to be Megan's Space palette. Emotions, we had anxiety, like pressure. Time pressure is it actually makes games more fun. That's actually what some of the research shows. So if you put people under time pressure to solve something, it actually increases their enjoyment of something versus them being able to work on it infinitely. So we've got loneliness from loneliness from Raymond, and then disgusted and curiosity. Curiosity, yeah, not but disgusted. Yep. I mean, any puzzle game is going to have a little bit of fun, things like fun and satisfaction, and exploration, like all these things. You'll have like in any game. So anxiety, loneliness, or disgusting. Not Cat Mario, Elephant Mario. The new. Have you guys seen the new Mario Wonder? You want to get me to go off on another tangent? Get me talking about Mario Wonder. Fun and creativity, anxiety, satisfaction, loneliness, and hope. Okay. Hope would be another one. Okay. So Cat Mario, isn't that when you turn into a cat in like one of the older games, right? Or am I thinking of something different? It's its own game? Okay. I see. It's a rage game. Yeah, this is the new Mario, so this is the new Mario, yeah. Gotcha. And Mario Wonder is an interesting game. It's very much like a standard 2D side-scrolling Mario game. It's got some issues with one person's the main player and everybody else has to stick with that person or they die. Which, instead of like the screen zooming out or whatever, now just whoever has the crown above their head, they're the main character. Everybody else has to jump with them or they just get yeeted off into a pit and die. The game though is really fun, and at least once. I don't know how much replayability it's going to have, but every level has a wonder flower on it that just causes everything to just go psychedelic. Like the piranha plants start singing and they start marching around singing a song, and you're just like, what's happening here? Why are they all singing a song? You're trying to like beat the level while these just piranha plants on parade, moving their tentacles around and singing at you and stuff like that. It is acid, like it's just straight up drugs. Every time we hit the wonder flower, it is like it's time for drugs. Don't call Child Protective Services on me. These are not real drugs. It's a video game. So another one, like a giant snowman starts rolling across the map, and you're like running on the back of the snowman as it's like just demolishing the level in front of you, and you're like hopping on him, trying to like keep from getting crushed underneath the giant snowman. Like it is wild. Like it was just like every idea that people ever had for a Mario game, and they're just like, we're just gonna put them all in. and you can play the whole level without hitting the Wonder Flower, and it's just a normal Mario experience where you can hit that thing, and then all of a sudden, just everything goes crazy, and all the platforms vanish until you're within 3 feet of them, and it's just like every level is different, and it's very creative, and I'm very happy with the game overall. The control scheme, having one player be the main player is kind of annoying. When you're the main player, it's great. When you're not the main player, you're just like doing your thing, and the other person moves to the right, and the screen just goes like this and drops you into it just screws up your jumps. Wonder flowers are a gateway drug, right? Okay, so puzzles. So Bruce was like, we need to reassemble the spaceship. We've got cubes that have to be rotated, or maybe you can have like an image on them or something and like rotate them to like line up, right, or something like that. Power cable puzzle to unlock different levels of the map. I like that a lot. Aliens, we have space orcs, Cupid, deadly robots, and then bosses was which one again? A Wally robot with a harpoon. Okay. All right. So let's gonna pause the recording again, and let's vote on these as well. Okay, so we also have some AI-generated concept art here that we could use again as inspiration. Okay, so the votes are in. Emotion, anxiety. Okay. All of them except for disgusting, it looks like, got a majority vote. So loneliness, anxiety, and hope of being rescued. Color palettes, Megan's. The puzzles we have are votes for the Boggle puzzle and the power cables. Reassemble spaceship is kind of like the overall goal. And then RSA keys didn't make it. Enemies, we have Cupid Deadly, and we have harpoon robots. Might be a little bit redundant. Okay, so there we go. We've got ourselves an overall design of a game. And for those of you at home, this is kind of a fun brainstorming process that you can go through. People toss out ideas, you put them up on a whiteboard. The project manager, like what I was doing last time, is I was just kind of mixing it up a little bit also. And then you can vote on it or just have the manager decide or something like that. And now we're gonna hand out roles to each person. So first of all, each of you is gonna get your own wing of the level. So north, south, east, west. I think we're gonna say Bruce is north. Boss is west. Raymond is east. Megan is south. And map making will be all responsible for their own wing. Okay. Group responsibilities. No, we're not going to do group responsibilities. This is why we're divvying it up. You each have to make your own level. Yep. So for weapons, maybe this will be, we're running out of time for today. So maybe we can brainstorm as your assignment for tonight, what sort of weapons you want the player to have. What sort of see if you can find some free assets out there that we could use, free sounds, free models, and monsters have been designed. So this will be your homework. Okay, is to come up with ideas for these. Okay, and then this is my punishment for not working with the NSCF3. No, you're basically going to be pretty independent, but you're going to have to learn how to use GitHub and check in and check out things because it's all the same game, right? But you're only going to be modifying the code for your level in particular. Can you screenshot the stuff we decided on, put that in the assignment so I have reference when coming up with ideas? I can. In fact, this whole thing here is actually on the web, so I'll put the link for this. This is OneNote, so I can just hyperlink the OneNote notebook to you, and then you can update it in real time. And yeah, so we'll just stop here. This will be your homework. Okay. Hope this was fun for you guys. I love creative, to me, computer science gets a bad rap as not being a creative field, but really, especially in game dev, there are times where you can just really just turn the juices on and just really just spitball ideas out there and come up with different ideas and just add different, spice here and there to things and see what percolates up, see what works. Those are data science nerds. So there's creativity in data science too. Like in data science, you're really telling a story from the numbers. But yeah, this is fun. I have fun doing this kind of stuff, and I hope you guys have fun doing it. And this is going to take the place of your mod project for the year. So you don't have to make a mod. You will still have to make an Unreal Engine project as well. You look at numbers, you make numbers to numbers, and increase the number in your bank account. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, 50B people. 50A, you're now up.